Hello, everybody. This is Father Michael Goyette with your 2-minute homily. And for this Sunday's gospel, we have from Matthew the two greatest commandments. First one, love the Lord your God with your whole heart, whole mind, and whole soul. In other words, what does that mean? That means you got to love God completely. Now, oftentimes when people think about this, they think, okay, you got to love God this much. And then you got to, you love your kids less. And then work and money, but there's actually, priority 1, 2, 3, and 4. But that's not actually what it is. When you say you got to love God with your whole heart, that means there is no list. There's just God. There's God, and then there's nothing else. Not that there's God and then the next thing, because that's where conflicts come in. Conflicts come in is like, and sin is when you're like, you put somebody else before God, and that's where the conflict comes in. Also, the second commandment, which is love your neighbor as yourself. A lot of times people have conflicts with that. Like, I'm loving my kids. I'm so busy taking care of my kids. I don't have time to pray. I don't got time to do that. Or I'm, so busy making money. I miss Mass on Sunday because I'm working on Sunday. Or I take my kids to soccer practice on Sunday. In other words, we think there's a conflict. But the conflict comes around not because loving God is one thing and loving your neighbor is another. It's because you don't understand the first commandment. If you understood the first commandment and lived it completely, there wouldn't be a conflict. Because if all you desire is God, then you're naturally going to lead your kids and your neighbors and your friends to God also, right? You're going to teach your kids the most important thing is God, and therefore you're going to bring them along to prayer. You're not going to say to yourself, should I go to soccer practice or go to Mass? You're going to say, got to go to Mass because that's the most important thing. It'll naturally happen. So if loving your neighbor distracts you from loving God, then that means you don't understand what you're supposed to do with loving God. Namely, you got to give everything to God and desire God completely. In other words, everything that takes up a part of your heart, right? You got to let go of that and then choose God alone. Remember, like and subscribe.